Hello and welcome back to Satisfactory. In our last episode, we set up computers. No, that was 2 episodes ago. In the last episode, we set up the supplies for the space elevator. And we forgot, repeatedly, or I forgot, because there's no we here, I forgot to keep the hard drive research going. So we have 3 choices here. At this point, I'm going to leave the Nobelisks the way they are. Adding in the crystal oscillators gives us more production and a lot bit less consumption per Nobelisk. But we don't have the crystal oscillators yet anyway, and I don't know what those cost to make, so I'm not going to mess with that. Pure copper ingot sounds interesting. That takes 6 copper plus some water and makes 15 copper ingots and produces a little bit faster. Of course, that means we have to get water to wherever we're smelting, but we'll see. Finally, rubber cable. 9 cable plus 6 rubber yields 20 cable at a much faster rate versus 2 wire per cable at a slower rate. Cable's not used in a whole lot of things. I mean, we're using it right now for the space elevator. But 9 to 20, that's less than 1 every 2. So it's definitely a huge savings on the copper front. On the other hand, this is a huge savings on the copper front too. You know what, I think I'm going to take these alternates. These might be fun to play with. They are these pure recipes. I think they might be fun to play with. So we'll start with the pure copper ingot. And then we'll toss in another hard drive. And get that started. And trying to remember this time that we have work to do. I just came back from an expedition. I've been doing expeditions lately looking for hard drives. And I found some random stuff that we don't need offhand, such as batteries. I'm just going to kind of chuck some surplus in here. Heat sinks. Maybe we can have a few motors. This stuff will just get chopped up in the grinder here. And then that way we'll have maybe some tickets, some coupons we can use. That looks good. Okay, and we'll let that run. I want to head over here to the space elevator and see how everything's going, because I've been gone for, I don't know, maybe a half hour or so on an expedition. I think for the most part, I'm going to do the expeditions off camera because I'm delving into the deeper spots and we're encountering more spiders, and I know those are issues for some people. So I don't want to. I want to mess with anybody's arachnophobia. So we've built almost 40% of these now. We're at about a little under 25% of these, and just shy of 25% of these. So if those rates are consistent, which I'm not sure if they are or not, well, these versatile frameworks definitely be done first. But based on this rate, it's going to be a few episodes before we have them. So other things that I did off camera is I upgraded all of the belts handling iron rods. So we have, I think it's Mark III now, at least from this point, all the way basically to the end. There were a couple of points along the way that were a bit sticky as far as getting the rods through. Eventually I found that in one of those splitters there was a Mark I segment inside of it. I don't remember which one it was, maybe this one. And it was causing a bit of slowness that didn't need to be there. We're actually over. If everything was running, we'd actually be over consuming iron rods right now. We do have a little bit more capacity on the iron ingots to produce more, but we're not consuming everything that's using rods. Like for example, rotors aren't really getting used that fast, and a few other things aren't getting used that fast. So I think it's pretty safe right now with what we have. And I think the rods are accumulating once again, or at least holding steady now. Let me see. They were down. Yeah, they accumulated because they were down about to here or so, and now they've accumulated and they're still accumulating a little bit, kind of slowly. So the next things we need to work on. Let's go over here into some open space and see what else we have we can make. Let's start with a manufacturer. Do I have the materials for it? I do. I'm not going to make beacons at this point yet. There's something they're used for later. I'm not positive what it is, but we're not going to make it. Filters, likewise, I'll make these by hand when I need them. And in fact, I need some because I'm out. I made some fabric and then I forgot to make the filters. These two we're obviously making already. This one we're making already. And this one we're not making yet. But we will be making soon because I think it's used for something that we're going to unlock shortly. Is there anything in an assembler we haven't unlocked? Or haven't started making, I should say. Ah, there's that silicone circuit board. Compacted coal's the only thing we haven't really made that we could make, but it's an alternate recipe, effectively. Or actually? Is it actually an I don't know. So, either way, it's an alternate recipe as far as I'm concerned. So we're going to work on those some point in the near future. Then here's a couple of alternate coal recipes, one out of biomass and one out of wood. One wood is like 20 biomass or something. So this is way better than this one because the one piece of wood here would yield 4 coal, and this, but this one's only yielding 1. And then otherwise there's canisters that we'll need to make eventually too. Something I want to do really soon here is work on some of the quartz stuff. We have those two pure quartz mines down underneath the base on probably somewhere around like 60 meters above whatever the level is that everything's measured by. Where are we at? 5 minutes left. So we haven't even started that yet. I saved up all the stuff we need for this as well as the next research. At least I think I did. All of those, and then all of these. So we're going to go ahead and get this one started. In, go. And get the expanded power infrastructure going.
Milestone reached. The fuel generator will match power generation to the increased consumption of recently acquired technologies and buildings. Additionally, improved conveyor belts and lifts can now be constructed. Caterium scanning unlocked.
So we had Caterium scanning before, I think because we've researched the Caterium to get it. I think that's where we got it from. Mark IV belts is going to be awesome, 480 resources per minute. Now I'm not sure why Mark II is 270, or Mark III is 270. So Mark I is 60, Mark II is 120, Mark III is 270, and Mark IV is 480. It would seem logical to me that Mark III should be 240. But that's me, I guess. And then finally the fuel generator, which we can take our crude oil that we are pumping, turn it into a fuel, and then dump that into this generator to produce a lot more power per unit. I think it's something like 100 megawatts or something along that line. But we could make one of those to consume or to produce a lot more power. Consuming fuel instead of other stuff. And then I have all the materials we need here, I believe, in that box to unlock the monorail train technology. My plan for trains is to have a train network that is elevated in some way, at least above this point, and then bring in materials from further off on the map back to this point. I would like to eventually make this base eventually be able to support everything. And the only way I'm going to do that is to bring in stuff via train. So let's go back here. How much of this what do we have left to unlock here? We need crystal oscillators for that. Deuterium is, let's see. Are those AI limiters? Yeah, we haven't started making those yet. Did we unlock those? High-speed connectors, AI limiters. We did. don't remember seeing them when I was skipping through things. Supercomputers, of course. Power poles Mark III, of course. I mean, we can't do these bottom two yet, I don't think. Or yes, we can. We can actually do this one now, because we have the high-speed... No, we don't have the high-speed connectors yet. We can make the high-speed connectors. And we need those for that as well. Let's see, flower petals are done, mycelia is done, nutrients. I just spent all of my pale berries I picked up on making inhalers, and I should have saved 4 of them for this. Doggone it. Okay, well, we'll have to unlock this one soon. Power slugs are done. Quartz, yes, we need to do quartz. And then sulfur. Now we have the circuit boards, so I should pick up some. I have some. Nice. And then also some more rubber and some black powder to do the cartridge, because once we have the rifle and cartridges, we can get rid of the rebar gun and its ammo here. Maybe I'll go out and do an expedition and shoot 12 of them off, just so we don't waste them. Or I could feed them into the shredder. That might be a better option. Feed them into the shredder, and then make the rifle and the cartridges for the rifle. Again, those I'll probably make by hand. I don't know what they take exactly, but I think we'll probably make those by hand, and then that way we can do. We can have the rifle to. I can have the rifle to shoot with instead of the rebar gun, which is much more accurate. The rifle is, and you can load multiple shots up per reload. I'm waiting for this to finish so that I don't walk off somewhere else and find out that I didn't do this for the entire episode. Okay, recipes. Iron wire. I think we'd talked about that one before. At this point, we have copper we're not using, and we're using most of the iron we have right here. So we'd have to bring in iron to make this, and for right now, I mean, I guess the alternate is it's slower, and copper's 1 ingot makes 2 wires. This is 5 ingots makes 9 wires. So this is slightly less efficient ingot to wire wise, I think. Yeah, because it would be 5 to 10 if it was the same. So I'm going to pass on this one, at least in theory. Heavy flexible frame. Instead of using 5 of those, so it uses the same amount of regular frames, board cubes. It uses 15 pipes instead of 3 reinforced or encased industrial beams. 3 of those is 12 steel beams. Can I see? No, I can't see. Versus 15 pipes. So maybe meh. But it still takes 3 encased beams. So it's basically like substituting in rubber and a few fewer screws, which is actually not a bad deal. Or, well, more screws per minute, but more frames per minute. This isn't a bad deal. Steel rotors, I've heard good things about. So 2 pipes plus 6 wire produces 5 per minute. 6 wire is 3 ingots. 6 copper sheets, it might be 6 ingots. And then steel pipes, especially once we get the other steel recipe, this becomes very useful, and we use a lot fewer rods as well, which means we can put more iron into more steel, especially if we tap more coal or upgrade our coals to Mark II. So this might be the best bet. I've heard good things about this watching Caledon's series, as well as seeing other people talking about it. So we're going to take the steel rotors. This one is compelling, and maybe we'll do it later, just because it kind of spreads the load out a little bit. It uses a lot less steel by using rubber, but for now I think the steel rotors is best for me. And we'll scan another hard drive. So let's head down. Oh, I want to look at the AI limiters. Where do they get made? What do they take? Are they made in an assembler? AI limiter. Oh, there it is. Yep, I missed it when we scrolled through earlier. So they take copper sheets and quick wire. 25 copper sheets per minute. I'd have to, I need to, also when I redesign the base, I need to write down everything that we're consuming. That way I make sure I make enough of everything. And then finally, 100 quickfire per minute, which is more than we're making right now, I think. But we have more Caterium that we can use now, because while I was out and about, I blew up the rock on top of the other Caterium mine that was out there. And I changed the beacon, too, that now it says just Caterium normal. That's not sulfur normal and impure anymore, because we're using one of those. Let's see. Yeah, so I changed that, or I blew up that rock, so now we have another Caterium mine, and we can always go Mark 2. So we'll definitely want to do these very soon, because I believe they're going to be used in a technology coming soon. If nothing else, we need to make some of them in order to do that Caterium. I think it was Caterium research. Caterium research? Yes. So I should probably set something up to make those quite soon. Actually, I can make them over here, at least temporarily, since they take Caterium and copper. Ooh, we're using more copper sheets right now than we're making. That's a problem. Go take a look. I wanted to get to the quartz today, but I think probably this is better. Yes, we're using way more than we're making. So I need to do the math here, I guess. 30 times 4 is 120. Each one of these is 2 ingots to 1, 20 per minute. So that means we can make 6 constructors worth of copper sheets. And I think that's actually what we have. So we actually are making everything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, no, we're only making 3 because I siphoned this off of the wire and cable makers to make. So, in fact, I'm not even using this copper that's up there. Hey, look, there's a doggo hiding in the corner with his nose buried in the corner. I'm not using Miner Mark 2 even. Actually, probably only need the Mark 1. But I'm not using that. Wherever it is up there someplace. Probably just can't click it because of where it is. But it's up there, so I think now might be the time to bring in that mine. Bring it down, put it in here, and move the copper sheets to their own source. Is that a pure mine? I don't know. Let me shoot this bee that's here. Hello, doggo. Here comes one. There we go. I heard you. I knew it was here. And then number 3. Gotcha. Come on, doggo, run away. You're in a bad spot because you got yourself wedged in there. I'm petting you. You can't run because you're confused. Anyway, let's go up here and look at that other mine. No, don't care. There are also spiders in this cave. I only went in there a little bit, quite a long time ago. Hey, look, there's a critter. This is pure. That means that Mark 1 miner is going to get 60. And a Mark 2 would get Mark 1 is going to get 120. And a Mark 2 is going to get 240. 120 means that we could make 6 constructors making the copper sheets instead of the 3 we have. So that's definitely a good option. Let me look at how I want to lay this out. Actually, before we get started, let's see. This is not a merge. I want a merger here, going in this direction, and then a smelter here. These are 1 meter away, right there, and then we want a splitter that can be right up against, because the power. Wait, where's my power poles at? Trying to see the spacing there. I think the power end I have here is on the outside. So let's do. No, I want a splitter, not a merger. Splitter goes here, and then the power pole would go. I think right there, and that's enough room for the belt to get in there. So I would want to bring this down in this general area right here, preferably via a lift. Maybe I'll bring a belt out here. You know what actually I should do? I should just put some foundations here. That would be the smart thing to do. There's probably some gaps in there against the wall that I want to take care of. Now the question becomes, if I want to make this a Mark II, which would mean 12 constructors. No, I think I'll leave it at Mark I for now. My plans for the base expansion include another level up here at maybe about this high to put all the smelting on one level. So it'd be almost even with, say, this level here, or perhaps that level over there if they're not the same level. And just this end of the base here, all smelting would happen on an upper level. At least that's my thought on how to do this. Ooh, let's put in a platform right there too. Thank you. Oh, I didn't pick up that little piece of corpse there. Yep, I need more here too. And I see the doggo ran away. Do I have... I do have the corners. Let's see. Do I want... I think I want this one here. Yes, that looks good. And then I can do this one here. And then this one probably here. I think that's the way that I want that to look. And that looks pretty cool, I think. Kind of rounds out that edge. Makes it look decorative. Okay, anyway, enough time wasting. Bring this belt over here a bit. I'm just going to design with Mark 1s like I have been doing. And then bring this up to maybe that level? Not sure. I need to build a equipment workshop. You know what? It's probably M.A.M time. Almost, I think. But I'm going to build this portable miner first. Okay. And then delete that. And then go up here and build a M.A.M. And we have about 2 minutes left. Okay. So, production. Mark 1 miner. Yeah, it's a bit far for where I was trying to build it to. So this goes here. That's what I put that stuff initially there for. Just to kind of see where this goes. And maybe I'll come over on a 45-degree angle. Let's see. Straight ahead is here-ish. So maybe we'll go over here like on a 45-degree angle. Bring the belt over and then across. I think that's a good idea. Is that a fluffy-tailed hog, like, hanging out there? No, it's one of those plants. It just looks weird. But there are some hogs hanging up there. But we're, well, that's probably why they're hanging out. And there's also the gas, because there's a slug up there. Okay. Anyway. Stop going all ADD, Wally. Bring this here. Let's see, where do you go? Can I line you up with that? No, but I can do this using the control and then try and make it as straight as possible to that conveyor lift and then go into there. Does that look stupid? No, that looks really good, actually, surprisingly. Right, let's see. Power. Can I bring some power off of you? Nope, not without upgrading. That's easily done. Come up here. Thereabout. And then into there. Okay, that should start up, and that'll give us the 120 that we were counting on. put that in there so that I can let it flow. That was the stuff that I picked up by whacking on the thing. Ah, here we go. Fused wire. My answer to this is going to largely be no, because Deuterium's a little bit more precious than copper at this point, even though it's 3 times faster per minute. And it uses a lot less materials overall per wire. Like, this is 1 to 2. This would be 15 to 30. So this is a third of the materials. But for right now, I'm going to say no to that, at least temporarily. This is steamed copper sheets. So instead of 2 ingots to 1 sheet, it's 1 ingot to 1 sheet. It's also 2.25 times faster, but it requires water. And we don't have much in the way of water available up here. So that's a problem with building on kind of the edge of it, like a weird up in the sky and on the edge of a weird desert area. We have the ocean out there, which is where the oil's coming from, as you can see from the pipeline. But in order to get water from the ocean all the way over to here, we'd be a long pipeline, which isn't a big deal. We just kind of follow that one or come up through this gap here. The problem is getting it up this high. That platform is at 20 meters. The ocean itself is below 0. For whatever weird reason, 0 is not sea level. I did look at what sea level was, but I don't remember if I know or not. Let me quickly look here. It looks like sea level might be about 20 meters below 0. So we're already coming up like 40 meters to get to here. We'd have to come up another 80 to get to here, and another 20 on top of that to get up. Well, another 80 to get up to, or another 60 to get up to 80 here. So we're looking at like 100 meters of increase, which is a minimum of 5 pumps per pipe. And that's assuming that I space them perfectly, which doesn't always happen. So that's kind of a not likely idea there. Polymer resin, though, takes crude oil, makes polymer resin, and heavy oil residue instead of polymer resin and fuel. So it's more heavily on polymer resin. I don't remember what polymer resin's used for exactly. I guess making plastic. Commonly used to manufacture plastics. There you go. So 6 crude oil makes 4 fuel plus 3 polymer resin, or 6 crude oil makes 13 polymer resin plus 2 heavy oil residue. I happen to know that 1 heavy oil residue plus some water will make the diluted fuel. I think it's 1 plus 2 water makes 2, so that would be the equivalent of 4 fuel. And this is 4 fuel. So this is actually a really good recipe to make plastic out of. Also, plastic was 10 crude, I think, or 20 crude to make 20 plastic. So this is, depending on what the polymer resin to plastic ratio is. Oh, here. Yeah, here's a good one. 3. That's what it is. 3 crude. So 30 crude per minute plus it equals 20 plastic per minute. 3 crude is 2 plastic. This has got to make more than 4 plastic, I would think, polymer resin. Let me see if I can build a refinery. Oh, there's a fuel generator. Production, refinery. Just build one like over here in the way. And let's look at that polymer resin. So the base recipe is 6 resin makes 1 plastic, and it needs some water. That's the only recipe we have. Yeah, otherwise we have residual rubber to make, which is this 4 polymer makes 1 rubber. So actually that 13's not any better plastic-wise. I don't think. Let's see again. 6 makes 13 instead of 3 making 2. So that's 6 making... Yeah, that's actually not any better. At least from my untrained eye and experienced eye on these recipes. So, these ones are all kind of a bummer for me right now. The one that's the least bummer, I would suppose, would be this one, because there's also the Caterium that combines Caterium wire that combines Caterium and copper to make Caterium wire. So if we could get that one, tying that one with this one might just be beneficial. This one's, I would consider all 3 of them, but at this point in my game, this one's the least bad, I guess. And let's start another hard drive. And I need to go out on another expedition soon already. Okay, so you've long since backed up your belt here. Let's jump down. See what we can block off here. Yeah, that's what I wanted to do. Right there, and then right there. Can I do maybe a ramp here? That would be biffy. Yep, that looks good. That way there's not that weird gap there or anything. Okay, so, and I'm fine with it kind of bumping up into and edging into the crap over there, or the crag. That's fine with me. I don't have a whole lot of foundation left. I'm going to have to go fetch some. See. So I think what I'll do is actually end the episode here. I'll set up these new copper sheets off camera because you guys have seen me do this before with the ones we have here as well as everything else we were setting up. And then in the next episode, we can hopefully get to quartz. So thank you all for joining me, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.